Hi everyone, welcome to the development log for Spearhead for May 2023. This month I spent the start of the month sort of working on multiplayer. There was quite a few things I added the previous month that I hadn't tested in multiplayer, so that was fairly boring. Nothing to show for testing multiplayer, although multiplayer working now again. I also worked on a new UI, so I've got like our unit selection. I guess is it like your inventory of units at the top? So you can filter by all or the particular, you got infantry, armor, all logistics and support when there's nothing in those yet. But you can pin this menu open so it stays open, and throughout the game you can have all your units displayed up here if you wanted to, or you can just pin the tank menu if you're working with your armored class, or maybe you're working on some infantry coordination, so you might just want to have your units up, and you can see it'll be used for staging as well. So when we get, if you remember from the first video I talked about, there's a staging phase where you'll place your units, and this is how that'll sort of look. You'll have all this will be forced open with all units, and you'll have to place all your units in before you can start the game. So I've got infantry in, you can see, and I've got some displays for them. Not all hooked up yet, but as I start working on combat, I'll start updating this stuff to work more. So the as part of the selection menus too, I've updated the displays for when you select a unit, and that has the same info again, just when you do a selection. So if I select all these guys, I get all their info, and I can see who's who and who's doing what, and like also this menu up the top too. If you select on it, like it'll select the group that you're going to, and I haven't added it in yet, but like if you shift select it, it will zoom the camera to them, and they'll allow you to just skip around all your units really fast and keep tabs on what they're up to. The group selection will also have all the group options along the top here. So at the moment there's just formation and spacing. I don't think I've connected spacing yet, but the formations are working, so I can get these guys to move around. And yeah, I've spent probably the last 2 weeks doing the animations and getting the soldiers in and sort of getting ready to do weapons and combat. I don't have any weapons in yet, but that's probably next thing on the cards, as well as state machines to get the guys moving. And like so they'll respond to stuff. They can start making decisions for themselves. Like if they pull out a certain weapon, then they'll run a certain animation. No, they're crossing over. I'll have to fix that. But yeah, so the formations are working now. I can do a echelon left and all sorts of stuff. And they won't all sprint around once. Well, that's what I need the state machine for, so they only do the certain types of stuff that you need them to do, and you can put them in different combat modes, and whether defensive or offensive. But the formations are working for the tanks as well, so one thing it's not working at the moment is on the fly. So if I change their formation to say a line now, it doesn't affect them in the current move. I don't actually have it set up for navigation set up at the moment to change it on the fly, but that's one thing I will be adding because you want them to change straight away. I'll also have the ability to change it on like waypoints and stuff, so you can get them to change formations, halfway along. You might want to move them through a row of trees in column, and then switch them to line formation when they bust out of the trees or something like that. Same with spacing, you want to be able to bump the spacing up, and as they're driving along, they'll just space out rather than waiting until the next waypoint. Brian's been working on cliffs here mostly. He's got a pretty cool set of rock formations going on. But we've just sort of paused on what we've been doing lately because we've just upgraded to Unreal Engine 5.2, which has a lot of procedural generation content stuff added. So he's having to play with that now and learning how all that works. So he's probably going to use that over the method that he's been doing to create this. It looks awesome though. The procedural stuff will make iterating over a map or creating a new map a lot faster. Next month will be probably fairly large focus on the AI and behavior trees and state machines so they can react to their environments a bit better and have more control over their actions that they're performing. And then that should lead into the setup for combat. I want to thank the Patreons for their support. As always, if you want to keep up to date with the project throughout the month, join our Discord. We post stuff in the Spearhead channel there all the time. And you can also become a patron and support the project, and get early access to all the content that's released, including tutorial videos on the channel. Thanks for watching. See you next month.